more minutes?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible, Pradeep.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, almost 30 have joined, Pradeep. We shall start now. So today let me introduce our speaker, Pradeep Sarkar. He is from Infinity Studio and he will be teaching you today Unreal Engine, about Unreal Engine, and we'll be seeing virtual Ramayana also today, so which is more interesting. So don't miss the sessions. Over to you, Pradeep. Pradeep? Pradeep?
Everyone has joined?
Yeah, you can start the session.
Okay. So good morning, guys. Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah.
Good morning.
So today I will be showing you how we made the Ramayana trailer. Okay. Let me get some of the files ready. Okay.
Pradeep,
Yeah,
I
hello.
think your voice is not audible.
I'm not audible.
Yeah, you are audible now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me just copy some of the things that I needed. Okay. Are you able to see my screen and my cursor?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So first we make the model. So the modeling time takes around, let's say, a week or 2 weeks to make the model. Once the model is done, then we go for the texturing part. Simultaneously, we'll make the rigging. So I'll show you a small. So these are the rigs. So if I select any one of the curve, then I can move the leg. I select the bottom one, and the entire body moves along with it. There are two ways of rigging. One is for game rigs, and another one is for movies. For movies, most of the time, the cloth and all the props, those are simulated with physics. So we don't make the rig for the cloths and the props. Only for the body will make the rigs. And for games, when it comes to games, sometimes we have to go for the, means the cloth also has to be rigged according to the body, or else we can use in-game physics to simulate the clocks. So if you take Unity as an example, Unity and Unreal are two different kind of engines. Unity is mostly for mobiles and Unreal is mostly for PCs and consoles. So Unity doesn't have a lot, means much better physics engine for the clocks, but Unreal has a better physics engine for the clocks. So we use clock physics inside Unreal. So we don't rig it in here. Okay. So once the character is modeled, rigged, and animated, once these three things are done, then we go for exporting the character inside Unreal. So inside Maya, I can simply create some of the shapes easily. See, Maya is the go-to. Inside Maya, I can create objects and make the shapes whatever I need. As early as possible, we can make these things. In Maya, we can make models faster and easier. A better tool for modeling character is ZBrush. ZBrush is used for most of the times in our production pipeline for giving small details. If I remove these inner curves, now you can see here that the face doesn't have any kind of detail, means the face pores and all those things. We cannot model all those things. So those things has to be faked through textures. In those textures, we will have all those pores and all the eyelashes and all those details. We add that inside another software, that is ZBrush. ZBrush is a high poly modeling software. So in that we will make all those pores and the eyebrows and the eyelashes. Those details will be projected to this model once that has been done. So once the projection is done, then we will start the texturing part of the pipeline. So generally, the pipeline goes something like this: that first the model has to be done, then the rigging and the texturing will go simultaneously, side by side. Once the rigging is done, then we'll start animating some of the poses. What are the poses that we need? Once those animation is done, we'll start the animation according to the story. So now the animations are of two types. One is mocap animation and is another is traditional animation. Traditional animation is using, it is done inside Maya or else Max, any software that is used in the pipeline. Currently we are using Maya, so the animation has to be done inside Maya. So to make it faster, we are using something called as mocap. That is something, a mocap suit that a person has to wear it. If the person wears that mocap suit and he starts doing some actions, those actions can be mapped to this character. So the animation gets faster and easier. So now let me open the Unreal. So once the animations are done, we will start exporting first we'll export the rig. Then we'll start exporting the animations separately. Once this is done, then we will go for the environment modeling, and then the props. What are the other props we need? Let's say for Ramayana, we need the hut, and then the environment of Bhadrachalam. We are making the entire space, means have you gone to Bhadrachalam where the temple is situated? So there we are placing the hut where the temple is currently right now. Around that hut, we are making the entire scenes of the Bhadrachalam place. Along with the river, we are making all those things. Give it a minute, it will take some time to open. So are you guys able to see the mouse and the mouse clicks?
Yes.
Whatever you feel, right, you can give the yes.
Right.
So here is, if you see, if there is d power n, r power n, the regular calculation, that makes d.
So while it is loading, let me show you a small modeling, how fast we can make models inside Maya. So I'll take a cube, a simple cube. Let me give it some divisions. And simply I can select these faces and these faces. Good. So this is how we make a small arrow. Now I can place it inside quiver. Okay. Let me see. So as I said, once the model is made, we have to make the textures. So how the textures are made? The textures are done according to the UVs. UVs are nothing but the flat representation of a mesh. For an example, you can see here. In 3D, I have my face here, but that face has to be made flat. So now you can see it in here. This is my face in the 2D. Same, this is for ears. These are the ears. Next we have the body. The hands and the legs. then the fingers and the feet. So all those things has to be represented in a 2D format. Once this is done, we can use Photoshop, or else we use something called as Substance Painter to paint the textures. Just give me 2 minutes. It is not opening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pradeep, are you there? I think he lost the connection. Pradeep?
With the names.
Madam has told we'll back in 2 minutes.
What's the name?
Madam? Hello?
Uh,
Radhika madam.
yeah.
Yeah, he has told that he will back in 2 minutes. He is taking time for loading the files. We'll get back into the
They are already
No, for me. With your number, which number, it is possible to identify you
Hello?
as this person is so number.
There is a power cut at his place, and I think generator is on. He'll be back in few minutes. Please bear.
Okay, madam.
Now, which one is easy? Which one is understandable? Is it?
So am I audible now?
Yeah, you are audible. Please continue.
Yeah. So now the project has been opened. Okay, fine. So as you can see, this is the interface of Unreal Engine. So now, once all those things has been done inside Maya, so we will import the characters. We will import the characters with the textures and all the details what are needed. And then we'll use this physics. These are the colliders for the character. According to these colliders, these are the colliders for the character. According to this collider, we will simulate the clothes for the character. So once the character is set up and ready, we can drag it inside our scene. Now we can rotate, place it anywhere we want, and we can do all the stuff that we want to make with this character right now. So already I have a character and I have set up the bow and the arrows for the characters, and all those things has been already set up. So I will show you how to set up this character. So once I have the character model and the bow model and the arrows, once all these things has been modeled, textured and imported inside Unreal, then I can attach this thing.
Not audible.
Not audible? Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, sir, audible.
Yeah. Okay. Now, first I have to select the character. Either I can place this thing as a child of this character. So whenever I select so now let me select the RAM2 pose, which is staying in the hierarchy or the world outliner. Inside Unity it was inspector, inside Unreal it is world outliner. So first I will select the RAM T pose 2, then I will select the bow and the arrow. Both these things I can drag and drop inside the RAM T pose 2. Now it is asking me where should I join these two meshes for the arrow and the bow. Where should I join it? So I will select none so that it will go as a child. Now when I select the character, if I move, all these three things will move together. Now if I place it, once I have placed, here, now I can move this character with the attachments. So now let me show you how to animate this character. As I have already prepared this character, so I will show you on this model. First, if I go into the toolbar, here's something called as cinematic. In this cinematic, I have to add a new level sequence. I have to give a name for the sequence. Once I've given a name, it will show me the sequence editor. Now I have to drag this RAM T pose inside the sequencer. Once I've added the RAM T pose in the sequencer, now it is giving me two options. One is for animation, one is for transformations. Okay. So inside animation, I select the animation, there is a plus button, it is showing me animations. Whatever animations are related to this RAM, I can select it here. Let me start with some start walking. Now, the moment I have added the animation, now it has added the animation track in here. So now you can see that it is animating. I can go forward, backward, anywhere I like. So now let me add some of the animations. This is just an overview of what is done. I will explain you all those things once I start explaining about the Unreal Engine and how to do it. So this is just an overview how we have done the Ramayan trailer. So now I have added some of the animations, that is start walking, then walking, then he'll stop the walking, then he'll draw the arrow, aim and release. So this is a sequence of animations. So this is just for the character. Again, we have to sync the animations of the bow with the character. This is just for the character. We have to do the same with the bow. Again, we have to do the same thing with the arrows. Once all these three things are done, then it will look like an animated movie. So let me open that sequence that I have already done. So here you can see I have Rama, the arrows, the bows, and the deer, which has been animated in this sequencer. So now if I hit play in the sequencer, it will play me the animations. And I can move around and watch my animation. Okay. So how we made the trailer? Inside this sequencer, once all this sequence has been ready, there is something called as render the movie as a video format or image frame sequence. In here, I can render out all the images or the video what is been recorded. Then we can export it, and we use After Effects or any other software to add the music and the sounds. So now you're clear about how we done the Rama trailer, Ramayana trailer.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now this was just an overview of the trailer, how we have done it. Next, we will start using the Unreal Engine, and I will show you how these things are done in depth, how the colors have been added to these textures, to this model, and all those things. So So from now on, we'll go according to the schedule. First, I'll show you how to use the Unreal Engine, how to set up the Unreal Engine, and all those things. Next, importing and exporting of the models, and then I will show you the material editor, then the landscape, and the landscape materials. So right now, the Rama is walking over the land. The land is nothing but the landscape. In the world outliner, you can see it is something called as landscape. So landscape is another beast inside Unreal. So now Once I have inside the landscape editor, now I'm inside landscape editor. Here I can sculpt, I can paint, I can manage the landscape. So if I go inside sculpting, these are the sculpting tools that are present. So if I go into sculpt mode, it is showing me a brush. I can increase the brush size, I can decrease it, I can do a lot of the things. Now I can start sculpting. According to my sculpt, everything will deform. Now let me make it smooth. I'll smoothen these things out. See how fast I can make changes to my landscape. I can undo all those things. So we'll look into all these things. Okay. So first let me clear this thing out and create a new simple scene. So inside Unreal, now let me tell you about the interface and all the things. Okay. Now, inside Unreal, everything is an editor. We have separate editor for each and everything. Currently, the window that you're seeing is the workspace or the work area. So now the first is the modes. In here I have the first the selection mode, next is the paint mode, next is landscape, then foliage, and the last is geometry editing mode. These are the different modes that are present inside Unreal. So let me dock it side. First was the mode. Beside the mode, we have the work area. The black screen that you're seeing, that is the work area. Below that, we have the content browser. This is the content browser where all the contents are present. Now, coming to the right hand side, we have World Outliner. This is what we have placed inside the workspace. It will show us in a hierarchy. This is the hierarchy of the work area. Now below that we have the details panel. It will show us the detail of each and every object. So now when I'm inside the placement or selection mode, if I go inside the submenu, there is something called basic, lights, cinematics, visual effects, geometry, volumes, and all classes are for all the things that are inside in Unreal. So the first one is the recently placed objects. What I have recently placed from my content browser or from my basic elements. whatever I have placed it in here, it will show us the recently placed objects. So first, let me go inside the basic. Let me first put a plane. I have added a plane. It is showing inside the world outliner. I can see the plane, and it is showing me the details of the plane, where it is its current location, transformation, rotation, and scale. Next, in the detail, it is similar to Unity. First is the transformation, next is the what kind of mesh it is, next is what kind of materials it is using, next inside physics, is it simulated by physics or not, next is it enabled for collisions or not, how light is reacting to this object, how this thing is been rendered. All these things data are present inside the detail panel. Okay, but I have placed the plane, but I cannot see the plane. Now to make the plane visible, we have to add some lights in my scene. So inside Unreal, there are directional light, point light, spotlight, rectangular light, and skylight. So let me drag a point light. Now you can see the center is the place where see, this is a gizmo showing me the up direction, side, and the forward direction. This is the blue one is for up, Y is for forward, and red one is for the sides. So the blue represents Z. Inside Unreal, Z is up direction. Inside Unity, Y is up direction. So inside Unreal, Z is up, Y is front, and X is side. Okay. So now let us start. Now for the basic question. What kind of system do I need to run Unreal Engine? See, Unity, I can run Unity in any of the laptops or any system. But for Unreal, the minimum specs that you need is any of the Intel or AMD processor with at least 4 cores. A dual core system will not run Unreal. Next, the memory or the RAM that you need is around 8 GB minimum. And next we need a graphics card which will support DirectX 12 or 11. So these are the minimum requirements. So in a laptop with any kind of graphic card, it will not run. A graphic card that supports DirectX 12 will be able to run it. With 4 GB of RAM, it will not run. So we need a better system to run Unreal. Okay. Now, currently the entire screen that you're seeing is called Level Editor. This entire screen that you're seeing, along with this modes, content browser, world outliner, and the detail panel and the workspace. This entire thing is called Level Editor. As I said earlier, that inside Unreal, everything is divided into editors. Okay. So how many kinds of editors do we have in Unreal? The first is the level editor, next is material editor, next is blueprint editor, next is behavior tree editor, next persona, Cascade, Niagara, UI, font editor, media player editor, static mesh editor, assets editor. We have all these kind of editors inside, and many more are there. So let me first start with the level editor. The first is the toolbar or the menu bar. So first is the tab bar. It contains files, editor, windows, and help. This is the menu bar. Below the menu bar, we have the toolbars. The save, source control, content, market, setting, blueprint, cinema. These all are the toolbar. Below that, we have the modes, as I said, as it says itself that it is mode. Next, content browser. Next, world outliner, and the detail panel. This entire thing all together is called the level editor. Okay. So as usual, if you want to make a new scene or a new level, you can create it inside file. You want to package these things out, you can package all those things. Inside Unity, you have build. Inside Unreal, it is called as packaging. Next, coming to the workspace. The workspace is divided into viewports. Currently, the viewport that you're seeing, the black one, is something called as, let me make it something interesting. Let me get a VR basic. Let me don't save it. Okay. This viewport of the workspace that you're seeing is the default viewport. This is a perspective viewport. Now in this workspace, let me expand it. So currently the viewport that you're seeing is a perspective viewport. We have top viewport, top, bottom, left, right, front, and back. These are the 6 viewports that are present in here. So these viewport, you cannot find it inside Unity. Unity doesn't have these kind of viewports. Unity has only one viewport, that is perspective, nothing else. So you can see that Unity is only made for mobiles. It is not optimized for making any kind of precise things. So the shortcuts, there are even shortcuts for each and every viewport. Alt J is for the top, Alt K is for the left, and Alt H is for the front. See, anything with Alt plus G, these 4 viewports are the main viewports. These are the secondary viewports. Alt Shift and J are the secondary viewports. Right is Alt Shift K, Alt Shift H is the back. These are the secondary viewports. Now in this viewport, now we have the selections menu. In the right hand side, top, you can see there are selection menu. First is for the translation, next is for rotation, and the third one is for the scale. So if I select any one of the object, see, when I select the translation, it will give me the translation gizmo. Rotation, it will give me the rotation gizmo. For scale, it will give me the scale gizmo. Besides that, we have object mode or else world mode. Now besides that, we have the grid options. If I turn on grid options, I can move this object according to the grid. it is currently it is for 5 grid points. If I change it to 50 grid points, it will move 50 places at once. Okay. Same is for rotation. I can lock the rotation according to the adjustment. Next is for scale. How I want to change the scale. The next one is the camera speed. Currently the last one is the camera speed. Currently it is in 2. If I increase camera speed, I can move anywhere as fast as possible. I can reduce it to go back to the normal one. The last one is to come out of impressive mode or come back to the level editor. Now beside it, I have the details panel. In the details panel, the first 3 are the most important: the transformation, the mesh, and the material. The rest we can ignore for right now. Transformation is it will show me the location, rotation, and scale of the object along with the mobility. Is it static, stationary, or mobile? Movable. Movable in the sense it can move when I play the game. If I put it static, it will not move. Same. Next is what kind of mesh it is using. Below that I have material, what kind of materials it is using. See, the 4 main viewports of Unreal. One is perspective, one is back, one is right, and the top. These are the 4 main viewports. I can change. If I want it to be front, I can change it. If I want the right to be left, I can change it. Okay. So in these viewports, in these 4 viewports, whichever I select, it will show a yellow color box around the viewport. That means that viewport is currently selected. Okay. Now let me expand the perspective one. That is something called as maximize to restore this viewport. If I click this box, it will maximize it. Again, if I click the right hand side top corner, again it will show me all the viewports. So now, beside perspective mode, there is something called as lit. These are called the view modes. These are the viewport modes, but beside this perspective, there is something called as lit. These are the view modes. View modes are lit, unlit, wireframe, detail lighting, how the lighting is been looked, only lights, reflections, what kind of reflections I have, player collisions, what things will collide with the player, and the visible collisions. What are the visible collisions are there? So these are the few of the main one. If you go into optimization, there are few more. Buffer visualization. If I select the overview, it will show me all the buffers. First is the base color on the top left side. Next is specular. After that, subsurface, world normal. Let me expand it. base, specular, subsurface, world normal. These all are the viewports or the view modes. So let me go back to lift mode to show me the entire thing. Okay. So how I am maximizing this viewport? The shortcut is F11. F11 is for maximizing the viewport. Next, how am I moving my camera inside the viewport? Okay, this is same as playing a game. W for moving front, S for moving back, A for side, and D for right. Okay, WASD all together, it gives me the movement of the camera along with the mouse right click. Without the mouse right click, I cannot move it. First, I have to right click the mouse, then I can move my camera inside Unreal. Next, I will show you the transformation controls. Currently, it is showing me the movement of the move tool. W is for move tool, E is for rotation, R is for scale, same as Unity. It is the universal shortcuts. Same applied for Maya, same has been applied for Blender. So W, E, and R, these are the all the move tools. W for move, E for rotation, R for scale. Okay. Next, we'll see the different editors. This was the level editor that you have seen right now. Next, we'll go to the material editor. So first, to go inside the material editor, first you have to create a material. So how to create a material? Inside the content browser, I'll do a right click. There's an option called as material. If I click on the material, it has created a material. Now it is asking me to give a name. I've created a material called test. The moment I double click it, it shows me the material editor. Now this is the material editor. This box contains all the output of the material. Okay. Now, same, we have the menu bars, next the toolbars. Now inside this toolbar, we have some of the connectors, how the connectors should look, live preview, live nodes, and all those things. Next, I have a small window previewing my material, how it will look inside a game. These are the outputs, and these output, how they will look inside the game. Next, below the viewport, we have our detail panel of this material, the entire detail about this material. Everything is present inside the detail panel. Beside that, in the right hand side, we have the palette. It contains all the nodes that can be used for material. So first, without any colors, the material looks black. So to give a color inside the palette, I can search for color node. There are few color nodes. That is particle colors, vertex color, or the scene color. These are the colors. But if you observe, if you go inside any kind of 3D work or any kind of just image work, a image contains 4 options, that is 4 properties, that is R, G, B, and the alpha, that is red, green, and blue, and alpha inside Unreal. So first we have to create a node that contains all this red, green, blue, and alpha node. That is something called as constant vector 4. Constant vector 4 contains the red, green, blue, and alpha. If I select the node in the details panel, you can see that the material expression contains 4 vectors. All those 4 vectors are red, green, blue, and alpha. So if I double click this node, it will give me the color picker. I can select any of the color I want. Anything. Okay. Now it has an output node, that is small circle with an arrow, small arrow. That is an output node that I can connect to the base color. The moment I've connected it, it will show me the color in my sphere. If I want to change the sphere to anything else, there are 4 options, 5 options below it. I can apply to a sphere, I can apply to a plane, or a box, or a cylinder, or if I want some other mesh, custom mesh, I can apply it. So let me keep it in the sphere. Next. So now coming back to the properties of this material. Same as Unity. In Unity you have albedo. Here we have base color. Next we have metallic, specular, roughness, emission color, normal, and all these options. Some of the options are been hidden or grayed out. These options are not reachable right now. So how do I highlight those options? So those options are depending on the mode it is in, what mode this current material is in. So if I select the material, if I come back to the details panel, the first is the material domain, in which domain the material is. There are some domains, surface, or else decals. Is it a light function? Is it a volume? Is it for post process? According to this domain, few of the options will change. If I change it to decal, see, some of the below options has been removed. I have got one extra, that is opacity. If I go back to surface, see, ambient occlusion, pixel depth offset. those are grayed out now. Same, if I go back to light function, only the emission color is present. Next, volume. So according to this domain, the material will change. So let me go back to surface. Now with this surface, how can I enable the opacity or opacity mask? So next we have the blend modes. According to the blend modes, few of the options will again change. If I turn on masked, I will get opacity mask. If I turn on translucency, then I will get opacity. So let me go back to opaque. So these outputs that the material will provide will change according to the blend mode and the material domain it is in. So now let us make a small material. So I already have a color for it. Next, for the metallic, I will get a constant vector. Constants are nothing but a simple value that contains a value. For metallic and specular and roughness, these values, the range for metallic, specular and roughness is 0 to 1, same as unity. If I give 0, I supply 0 to all those things. Now metallic is 0, roughness is 0, and specular is 0. So it is better to keep this separate. So to duplicate any of the nodes in Unity, we use Ctrl D for duplication, but in Unreal we use Ctrl and W for duplication. Ctrl W is for making duplicates. Now I can attach the nodes. Now in Unity, most of the times the material, the options that you are making the changes is not visible. But in Unreal, any of the things that you change, it is visible because of the live preview. There's a live preview node in the toolbar. This is for updating the material in the live. This live preview is not present inside Unity. So whatever changes you have to make in the material, you have to drag the object inside the Unity viewport, then you have to make the changes. But in Unreal, inside the material editor, we can change. However, we like to make some of the changes that we need. So let me make the metallic. Now if you see the object, the moment I make some changes, it will update. Let me make the value as 1. See, this is metallic as it is. If I change it to 0.5, it will give me 0.5 metallic. If I change it to 1, the metalness will go lower. If I change the metalness to 1, that means it is a fully metallic ball. Now if I change the color, it will update. Okay. So next is roughness. As the roughness is 0, it is shining. I can see the entire reflections in my material. So if I increase the roughness, as I increase the roughness, let me put it 0.5. To change the roughness to 0.5. Now it is looking like some silver ball. If I change the roughness to 1, that means it is a total rough object. Even if it is metallic, it won't show any specular or any shine because the roughness is 1. I change the roughness back to 0.2 or something to bring those reflections back. Even at 0.1, I can get some of the reflections. So put it to 0, it will give me a mirror to reflect everything. Okay. This was the material editor, a basic material. Next, beside these 4 objects, the next one we have is something called as emissive color. How do I make things glow inside Unreal Engine? Either I can give emissive color takes 4 inputs, that is Unreal Engine emission color takes 4 inputs, R, G, B and A also. So even if I give a single value, it will multiply this single value with those 4 values. So first I will show you how I can give this with this one value, how I can change the emission. Then I will show you how I can change the emission with the 3 or 4 values. I change the I give a value of 4. Now see, the object is emitting light. If I bring back to 0, it is not emitting anything. Make it 1, it will emit and it will reflect. If I change, increase it, let's say 34, and it will glow, it will start glowing up. Okay. That was emission. Now, let's say I want to give some color to my emission. I will duplicate my color. I will give some color that I need for emission and then pass it to emission. Now let me remove roughness. Now this sphere is emitting my color. If I give it red, it will emit red. If I give it blue, it will emit blue. But currently it is not glowing. It is just emitting that color. So to make it glow like a blue color, I have to make some of the mathematical functions that I have to use. Some of the mathematical functions are addition, multiplication, division, subtractions, all those things can be done inside this material. So how am I removing these nodes? Once I have connected the node, how to remove them? So if I press and hold Alt and click on any of the nodes, it will remove the connections. Okay, let me put back the color, metalness, roughness, and speckle. Now, coming back to the mathematics aspect of the material, if I press and hold A, I will get addition. If I press and hold M, I will get multiplication. I won't get S for subtraction. S will give me a parameter. So this is the shortcut way of creating the nodes. How do I create a node? I have to search here. In the palette, I can search for addition. I will get a add node. For subtraction, I will get a subtraction node. For multiplication, I will get a multiplication node. All those nodes are present inside this palette. So currently I will use a multiplication node. So I will create a multiplication node. Then I will multiply this color with a value. Now the current value is 0. So it is not emitting anything. If I change the value inside the details panel, you can see it will start glowing. Okay. So bring it back to 0, it will stop glowing. So this was just a basic material overview. So next, how do I add textures in here? So let me close it. Okay. Previously in Maya, I had showed you the UVs of the character, Rama character. So now this is the textures for the Rama face and the eyes and the body. Next, this is the texture for the cloths and the props. So we'll use these two things and create a material for the Rama character. So first, I'll create a material for I'll go to the editor. Now if I need any kind of textures, I have to select those textures. Let's first make the texture for the props. Now, when I drag those things inside the material, now I have 3 textures node. These texture nodes I can use inside this material to create the Rama prop or for the cloths. I can make a material for the cloths. So first, this is the color node, this is the normal node, and the black and white is the ambient occlusion node. So the color goes to basic color, normal will go to the normal, and the ambient occlusion will go to the ambient occlusion. Now I have my material ready. In here I can add few of the things, such as if I give roughness as 0, how the cloth should reflect the lights. Generally cloth doesn't reflect that much of light, so I can give it a higher value and reduce the reflections. And cloths are not metallic, so I won't add any kind of node inside metallic or specular. Only I need for roughness. So now that material has been done. So if I import my Rama character and if I apply my Rama test, it will compile that material and it will add my textures to the character. Now I can see that this hair is not reflecting anything. Generally hair reflects some lights. So let me create a new material for the hair. Right click in the content browser, material, I'll create a Rama hair material. Next I'll select all the textures that are needed for hair, drag and drop inside hair material. Same thing, first is color, then normal, the last one is the ambient occlusion. I will connect those in here. Now for reflection, I have to give some value to roughness. Let it make it around 0.2. I save it. Next, I will drag the Rama hair and apply to the hair. It will compile. Now it has been added. The reflection looks is more reflective. Let me change it to around 10.5. This is how we make materials for the characters. First, we should have the required textures. The three most important textures are the normal, color, and the ambient occlusion. These are the three most important textures. Now we'll take a break. Then we'll come back. 10 minutes break. Then we'll come back. At 11:50, I'll show you how to import the 3D models, and we'll go little bit in depth inside the materials.
It's okay.
Okay.